Oh, dang. Ah, shit. That's good enough. Because love isn't greedy, in a logic board,
This is not a dream.
you can see something short circuits because it took more than what it could handle. And when this is of a case, it's it's just the same as in filler. When you're adding too much filler to something, is at what point going to be something that you can't taste? And that's when something's really rich. You can make it more and more conducive to less and less of it, and just add filler on top, and it'll be normal. But at what point are you just drinking like more creamer? What I do is like I put ice and then creamer in it, and then I pour it into a drink, and it makes it so much better than if you didn't. And this is what in 007 James Bond, he's like, I want it shaken, not stirred. It's these fine dynamics that get thrown over if it's not addressed head on. And I'm pretty sure that that's what patents are taking away from if they're not utilized properly. Patents are... Alright, so if you look at all the leaders in the world, well, they meet at Davos, and it's called the World Economic Forum. And one of the things that they strategize in creating is the same thing that the Democrats pushing, is this green energy with equipment that doesn't exist. And when I'm saying this, I really am like saying the solar, the Watto hydropower, they can't fasten a grid, the electric grid, to make the switch. It's gonna all entail for a rolling blackout and airs around me. So what they're saying is like, well, we need the machinery instead of a grid to be the machinery of you and me. The technology, of course, doesn't exist to make a green energy grid, but if you can sell someone that a more intricate one is equal beyond what should be.
This is not a dream.
The same route that I'm trying to break. And so logic gates, there's like these logic boards, which are makes up of computers. These logic gates, there's like these logic boards, which are makes up of computers. And it's on either end where it short circuits of these capacitance. And so you can look up and see why that happened. Same as like in brain chemistry, you've got a synapse, and there's two of them, and there's a gap between, the stop gap. And then you're looking at, this is what I wanted to do in math. There's like chemistry of a brain. There's chemistry of every major thing in your body. So it's like, this is how a pragmatist can continue to fornicate after its head gets chopped off. And this is what, I've got 2 channels. And so the pragmatist, it's all insects. They're used to being close to the ground, and so they have a strong back because their head is always nose to the ground. And so a pragmatist comes in, he's shaped like a crane. He goes, pins them down, of course. They're all grapplers. And so he starts nibbling like at the back, and they think it's no big deal. They're used to having like all this protective stuff on their back. It just feels so like innocent, like, wow, this isn't gonna do anything. And cut to 10 seconds later, and now their head is halfway off, and that's a frenzy. And so in computers, when they like short circuit and everything, it's really hard to deduct because they're not moving like we do. So the more that you incorporate these motions with computers to make it user-friendly, the weather has been patented. But yeah, there's these processes that make ice quick, and so if you're making quick ice, you can get one. Of course, it'll be owned by someone because it has a patent. Working because the chemistry has these 2 synapses and they're not connected, and that's how brain chemistry works. That's aside from DNA, which the end of DNAs, they have these long bands, and you want them to be as long as possible. And so that's where they don't fade away, but they're brain chemistry, it's using the fadeaway aspect in order to incorporate this televised telecommunication system. So putting these two things together, the computer is a stationary thing, and it's doing all these processes that are physical. I'm like mobile, and I'm just speaking on with words things that are physical. And this is the path of least resistance, people. In physics, when you start pinpointing out things that are obstacles, the path is more straightaway. And how straightaway is love, because you can never have too much of it. And I mean that with like almost certainty, because the opposite of love, you can die from shock factor. And so if you've never seen lambs, I think it's like goats or something, they get like scared and then they have this paralysis and they just like bend over, they fall aside. And this is what, in your muscles, if they're not connected to your bones properly, you get this disease. Abraham Lincoln had it, and so did this other guy who was on I guess in tall people, if your muscle isn't connected to your bone, you're gonna have like these similar things that the lambs, when they shock and they just keel over inside of a coma. He would get up too quick and then pass out. Playing how a computer can be an I-beam, and then its interior can just function off shadows. I think that's a fire idea still.